Hey everyone, welcome to week 6. I'm going to take just a couple minutes to look at the agenda with you and go over what's in store for you this week. Go ahead here and take a look. Obviously, you're going to have to take the week 6 attendance quiz first before you can access the lessons and assignments for this week. Keep in mind that the questions on that quiz will come from the material that we covered in week 5. So if you're behind, you're going to want to catch up so that you can take the week 6 attendance quiz. But also, if you are behind on week 5, that probably means that you have not yet completed writing assignment 1 evaluation paragraph, which, remember, that's your first big assignment for the term. That writing assignment paragraph and the one you're going to do this week, those are worth 40% of your overall grade. So if you are behind on week 5, you want to get caught up as soon as you can so that you can get that evaluation paragraph submitted, get my feedback on it, and decide if you want to revise it. Also, here in week 6, we are moving on to the second big writing assignment paragraph. All right. Once you do take the week 6 attendance quiz, though, and you have access to everything here in the module, the first item you'll see under the quiz is, of course, a quick review of week 5. And then we have one lesson this week, and it's on compare and contrast, which is another type of rhetorical pattern that we learned a little bit about last week. If you remember last week, we went over the first lesson in week 5 was rhetorical patterns. And it was just explaining that in academic writing, there are different categories or genres that you might be asked to write in. And there was a narrative, description, cause and effect, classification, definition, evaluation, compare and contrast. So last week, we kind of had an overview of different types of rhetorical patterns, and then we focused on evaluation writing. This week, we're going to focus on a different rhetorical pattern with compare contrast. So make sure you go through that PowerPoint and watch the video lesson. There is a lot of useful information in that lesson. A lot of students come into this assignment thinking that they know everything they need to know about how to do compare contrast. And, on the surface, that's probably true. We engage in compare and contrast on a regular basis in our daily lives, at school, at work, whatever the case may be. It's something that we are quite familiar with in terms of the concept. However, being familiar with the concept does not necessarily mean you are prepared to write an academic paper or paragraph in compare contrast format. So please go through that lesson, because even if it's something you're familiar with, actually then creating a paragraph that has all of the required elements and is organized properly might not be something that is as familiar to you. So please go through that lesson. Pay attention to the sections that talk about creating the topic sentence. Pay very close attention to the sections that discuss the 2 ways you can organize a compare contrast paragraph. There's 2 ways. You're going to need to choose which way you want to use, and then you're going to have to follow that pattern, that method, through the whole paragraph. Okay? So again, a lot of useful information that you're going to want to pay attention to in that lesson on compare contrast. Go through the PowerPoint and watch the video lesson. And then that's the only lesson for the week. Our homework for week 6, review chapter 12. That's the chapter that covers compare contrast. So it'll go over a lot of the same information that's in the lesson. We have journal 6. Okay. Make sure you watch the video in the instructions and try to have that completed by Sunday night. And then, of course, we have writing assignment 2, compare contrast paragraph. Again, please watch the video in those instructions. You want to make sure that you're understanding exactly what is expected of you, because even though you're given a chance to revise these paragraphs for a better grade, if you do well enough the first time around, then you don't even have to worry about taking the time to revise it later. So if you, pay attention to the lesson this week, watch the video in the instructions, go through the assignment sheet, use the optional graphic organizer to help you. Again, it's optional, but it is very useful. All right, use everything here in week 6 to your advantage so that you can produce a solid compare contrast paragraph that's going to score well the first time around, and then you don't even have to worry about revising it later. Right? But, you know, the opportunity to revise will be there. Okay? So I don't want you stressing out too much about this. It is just one paragraph, but it needs to be a solid paragraph. If the better you do the first time around, the less likely you'll have to revise. But, you know, I will give you that opportunity and you'll have my feedback to know exactly what you'll need to do to revise it for a better grade. Try to have that in by Sunday night, okay? All right, that's it for week 6. No discussion this week. Again, I want you focusing, you know, yeah, we have the 10-minute journal, but otherwise I want you focusing on learning about how to do a compare contrast paragraph and then writing your own compare contrast paragraph, okay? If you have any questions or run into any problems throughout the week, please don't hesitate to reach out. Otherwise, you are free to go ahead and get started on the week.